Hi, I'm Damon Frank, and you're listening to the Recovered Life Show. Every week, we bring you a recovered life discussion about creating your weekly sober game plan and strategies on how to live your best recovered life. Remember, addiction is a life-threatening condition, and the information in this discussion is provided as a resource only and is not to be used or relied on for any diagnostic or treatment purposes. This is not a substitute when professional diagnosis or treatment is needed. Now, let's jump into the discussion. I'd like to welcome everybody to Recovered Life Discussions. Let's plan our sober week. Every week we get together with the Recovered Life community and we plan our sober week, what we're going to do this week in sobriety, what we're working on, what happened over the weekend. We just kind of catch up as a community and have a conversation. I'm joined with recovery coach and my co-host of the Recovered Life Show, Christina Dennis.
Hello.
Welcome,
good
Christina.
morning.
I know you had a fun-filled and jam-packed weekend.
I did. A lot of travel. Went to Tucson on Friday and got back about 5 hours later than was expected to yesterday. So playing catch up.
Talk about serenity. If anybody has done air travel in the
Hmm.
past year, you know you have to be fully recovered and on top of your game to deal with all of that, right? I mean, it's quite a big traveling now is not as easy as it was
No,
pre-pandemic.
no. And this trip was no exception to that. Starting with, you ever arrive someplace and the marketing materials are about 20 years old. You see where you've picked the room that you're going to stay in, and you're like, wow, this does not look like it did in the brochure. That was kind of our experience. It was fun filled though. A lot of family. My husband's aunt was celebrating her 30-year wedding anniversary, and so everybody came, and it was quite lovely. These people. I mean, a party for sure, but not any of the kind of parties that I used to attend. This is one where everybody kind of drinks normally and hugs and catches up and is just happy to be there. And so that made it to be a lovely weekend. But on the way back, we had almost a 4-hour delay. I could have driven home from Phoenix in the time that I sat in the airport. And my husband had lost his cell phone. So it was,
No.
yes, but Tucson Airport isn't like LAX, because when I called the phone, they picked up right away, called back, and let us know they'd be mailing out the phone today. And so he's going through withdrawals.
Wow.
But once we found the phone, we knew like there wasn't much you could do about it. And I was just thinking about all of that, and how much being embracing these lessons that I've learned in sobriety helped over the weekend with the personalities and being of service and being one of many, and not having to run the show, just showing up whenever I was asked to show up, and being open, and then accept. Did a big old gratitude list the first day when we checked in, rather than think, oh, we got screwed. Look at this. This is a terrible place that we have to stay. And, instead looked like all my needs are being met. I am with my lovely husband. I have, a decent room. There's no, just kind of dialed back my expectations. And then when he lost his phone, I practiced my codependency recovery, to the top level, recognizing that it was happening to him, not me, and even if we had to replace the phone, we'd be okay. So overall, like I said, I got home about 5 hours later than I thought I would, but I'm just really grateful for my sobriety, grateful that I could travel Mother's Day weekend and celebrate some lovely people and not have to make it about me. So I'm happy to be back though. It's nice to live somewhere. It's nice to go away, but it's also really nice to come back home.
Absolutely, it is. I think you said so many great recovery things there, and we're going to dive into that just to reset the room and to let people know kind of what we're doing with this recovered life discussion and some of the ground rules and some of the stuff that we ask of you uh, during our time together here. This is a discussion all about planning our sober week, about how we get on track, what we're working on. And, Christina and I firmly believe that no matter how much time you have, whether you have, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, or you have a day, or you're trying to get a day, kind of knowing what you need to work on in your recovery is essential for you living your best recovered life, for all of us living our best recovered life. So we get together and we discuss that. This isn't a Christina and I room, it's an us room. Everybody comes up that wants to share and shares about what they're working on, what maybe some of the struggles have been over the last couple weeks, and what you're working on this week and how you do it, right? The only thing that we ask is that you use your first name. This is recorded and it's replayed. So we just ask for people to use their first name. Except for Christina and I, you could use any name you want with us. And also just be loving and kind. That's really just the game rules. Like if you're talking about somebody else, or you're addressing somebody else's issue, please just be loving and kind. That's it for Recovered Life ground rules for the Recovered Life discussion. Christina, for me, I just want to share about for me real quick as people start to come up to the group and start to share. I am really focusing on kind of getting back to basics for me. I feel like I've been a little all over the place with my recovery, and that's not good or bad. I'm taking the judgment out of it, but I feel like I need to get back to some very basic building blocks of my recovery. Do you ever feel like that?
All the time, all the time. I feel blessed that I work in recovery, so I have this really good reminder every day when I'm sharing a technique with somebody or giving somebody kind of direction that I'm also doing it in my life. But I know, like, much quicker, I recognize the feelings and the tendencies, the tendency to panic come up when I'm not back to the basics and I'm not working on a program or something that is, bringing me closer to being the person that I want to be. And I'm really, really grateful for that. I think that when I first became sober, I thought, oh, I can't wait till the day shows up that I don't have to think about all these things. But that hasn't been the case for me. I really enjoy what the program has taught me and the people that I meet in it, and it's become a way of life to save me.
It really is. I think a little opposite of you with this, and I have a good buddy
No,
named David. I do,
I'm
I do.
shocked.
I'm always the contrarian with you. I have a buddy, David, who is very, very involved in addiction and recovery and runs foundations and all kinds of stuff. And he told me, I said, do you ever just get burned out of that because you're doing this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And he said, he goes, when I'm working with other people, that's their recovery. That's not working on me. And he goes, even to this day, I carve out time for myself to work on my recovery. Right. And I think that's a very
Smart
important
guy.
thing. And yeah, it was very good. He goes, because, the thing is with people that work in recovery or around people in recovery a lot of times they get burnt out and they conflate their recovery, helping somebody work, let's just say a 12-step group, or coaching somebody through a family crisis, or dealing with somebody trying to get sober, right? That is their recovery. That's their path. That's not my path. I have my own things that I'm working on. And that's why I love this particular discussion because we talk about like what we're doing this week and what we're focusing on to try to have a better recovery for ourselves. So for me, it's really about getting back to basics. And what that means for me is, look, I'm I have certain groups that I belong to. I'm trying to kind of try some new things with 12 step groups, try some new communities out and to try that. I'm also taking some time out to work on a meditation practice this week. And for me, I think the biggest thing is when I find that I'm off course, it's usually that I don't have a one-on-one connection. That's usually the problem, right? Is that I've somehow faded away, Christina, from one-on-one connection with
With a
other
person?
alcoholics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was
with
gonna
other
say I couldn't tell.
alcoholics. Yeah, and
Yeah,
so
totally.
for me, this week is really about reaching out to people who are friends that are in recovery, people that I have relationships, people who know me well, right? And just connecting with them. Whether I make a lunch plan to go to lunch with them a couple weeks from now, or whether it's just a conversation on the phone, listening to them and finding out how they're doing. For me, I always notice that my recovery game plan is not on track unless I have a version of that connection in there.
Agreed. Agreed. It's very important that one person know what's going on in my life entirely, so that if I do fall off, if I stop showing up, if I have a crisis, I know one person to call who is really clear on the details of what's going on in my life, so that I have that person ready, and they know what's going on, and I don't have to start from scratch, and it allows me to just stay super current, so they can say, well, wait a minute, you told me last week this was happening. If I seem to think like everything is wrong and everything is going bad and I'm never happy and nothing ever happens for me, they can kind of gently point out to me, no, no, you actually have had, a good couple weeks. Or they can say, well, let's look at the amount of stress that you're under. And they know the truth. And I was taught that very early on. So you need to have at least one person who knows the truth, the 100% of the truth, so that they can call you out when you need to be called out, and also support you in a heartbeat.
Yes, absolutely. I think that is so important because, I hear stories all the time. You hear this through coaching. It's like, oh, I've been in therapy for a year. And I said, well, what does your therapist say about this excessive drinking? And they'll say, well, I haven't told them that I excessively drink, right? Like, so it's a select sharing with people that can get us into trouble
Yes.
as alcoholics, right? And as codependents. The interesting thing, I heard somebody say a long time ago, I'd love to take credit for this, but I can't. And I can't remember who told me this, but they said, Damon, they said, alcoholism and codependency and addiction recovery is different than other things. Said if I had a car and it always broke down, I wouldn't go to my brother or my uncle who knows nothing about cars and ask them to fix it. And he goes, but alcoholics, people who have problem drinking, go to other people who have had problems drinking in order to fix it. And it doesn't make any sense on face value, right? Like, why would I go to somebody else who's struggling to fix a car to have my car fixed, right? But there's something that happens between the connection between people that are in recovery that doesn't happen in, I would just say, the general world. I mean, wouldn't you say that, Christina? There's something special that happens with
Absolutely.
the connection between people that are in recovery.
Absolutely. It really is. And I've heard that before too. Well, why do you go there, or why do you keep going back to those meetings? And everybody was so kind last week. I celebrated 25 years on Friday, and it is because of the people. It is because they know what I've been through. They know me. They know me at my worst. They know the thoughts that are going on in my head, and can, well, do love me anyway. And sometimes love me because I'm a little crazy or a little sensitive. So I think it's really important. Just this app has been amazing, the connections that I've made. And in the recovered life specifically, I've developed true friendships, and I know what's going on in their lives, and that's an honor, to be included. So I hope
Absolutely.
people will come up. We'll start
Absolutely. I've
sending
sent
out
out some
invites.
invitations to for people to come up. And yeah, how was, by the way, we did the live show on Friday. How was your 25 years, by the way? I have to ask you because we had a lot of comments in the community about that, and everybody was celebrating you, and it was very exciting. How was that?
I got a phone call right when you were asking me. You were asking me how my birthday was?
Yes, how was your
Yes,
anniversary?
yes, it was lovely. It was lovely. I traveled all to the day and got to the destination of Tucson, and it was just amazing. The wishes, both on social media and through my phone, and I mean, they happened all weekend. On Monday when I returned, or Sunday when I returned, there was an amazing bouquet celebrating, myself and from people that have been in the program with me, and just it really I was truly blessed, and I felt really loved and could see, that the 25 years is a big deal, and me
Yeah, it is
being
a big
able
deal.
to allow it to, and to really look toward and say, wow, this is what I've been doing for a long time, and people feel blessed by it, and I know I'm blessed. So I have to tell you, it was truly lovely. I
Well,
don't
we're all
always
celebrating your
celebrate.
success. It
I
was
don't
such
always
an
do it though, so I'm
I know. And
so
that's
glad
the
I
whole thing
did.
is taking some time out to be able to celebrate yourself is a
Yes,
great thing, and we
yes,
learn that in recovery. We really do.
totally, totally.
Well,
Thank you.
we've got some people here that have joined the group that would like to kind of share about their sober week and what they're doing. So we're going to start going out to everyone now to discuss. If you do come up, please unmic until we call you. That'd be great. Thank you. And we want to hear about your sober week. What do you have planned? What's going on? What are you working on? What are you struggling with? What has been some success too that you've had? I know we've had a lot of people that have come to this space every week to check in, and we're so glad that you're here. Christina, why don't we go to Alice? Welcome, Alice. Good to see you here. How's
Hey,
your
good to
sober week
see.
going?
Oh, it's rocking.
Hello.
Hello, sweet
How are
girl.
you doing?
Congratulations
Thank you.
on your 25 years. I am hanging in there. It's yeah, my life has been turned upside down one more time, and it's a good turn upside down. The universe has got my back and is somewhat kicking me a little in the patootie, but you know what? It is happening. Um, The house is getting cleaned out. Um, I am going to end up staying in Virginia for another week. I was going to head back to Tennessee either tomorrow or Wednesday. And um, my sweet son and daughter in law, I called them and talked to them about this. And they're like, stay, get it done, do what you need to do. We got this. And, I'm just trusting that that's all going to be fine. And so I have had some real challenges with sort of um, the not that I wanted to drink, but it just kind of kept creeping up. Like, you've had a busy day, man. You packed 30 boxes. Wow, you need to celebrate. And thank goodness, I have to get to the door and get to my car or walk to the, 2 blocks to the convenience store before I could put my hands on a bottle of wine. And, I always stop because I know that's not the answer. I know that's not going to make me feel better. I know that's going to make me less productive.
Looks like we might have lost Alice there for a second. Are you
Yeah,
back with us,
I'm
Alice?
I'm I'm back. I'm sorry. I got a call. I got rid of it though. Yeah, so I know that I'm not going to do that because I would not be doing what I'm doing. My life would not look like it's looking for the future if I were not sober. So, um so the argument does not last long. It's fleeting, and it's, but sometimes it's really tough when you're exhausted and you're emotional and you're going through, you know, 40 years of memories and packing up a house of 25 years. It can get pretty damn daunting. And, but I have people like you, Christy, to reach out to, and many others. And, everybody's been there for me. My friends here have shown up, um, and helped me. Um, and as I said, the universe has got my back. The universe has brought me two amazing people, who I'd never met before, but who did work in my house while I was away and painting and whatnot, but are also just amazing people that I can hire to help me. But, they've just been given to me as a gift. So I am this morning, afternoon here in Virginia, I am full of gratitude for what I've been given. I'm full of gratitude that I get to choose to start this new life. And, I'm going to be going into it. Ironically, it looks like my house will be going on the market, amazingly, July 1st. And it
Whoa,
just occurred to me that it will be July 1st because that will be my 3-year anniversary sober. So,
amazing,
wow, there's another kicker from the universe.
amazing.
Yeah, it's happening, Christy. We need to talk, girlfriend. But yeah, so it's all good. And, I haven't been able to come on because I've had people in my house, or I've been taking care of kids, or, but today I took the day off. I'd been going at it since last Saturday or last Sunday pretty hard. And so I am treating myself. I've had a facial this morning, and I'm going for a chiropractic appointment and a 90-minute massage. And I am taking care of Alice today, and just being very full of gratitude for everything falling into place and everything coming together. I know there are going to be bumps. I know there are going to be some, missteps here and there, but right now things are, going ka-chunk, 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 and I'm going right there with them. So that is my share today, and it's so good to be back with all of you. And I can't say I'll be able to be back consistently until this week is over, and I'm, hopefully on my way back to Tennessee. And yeah, so anyway, it's happening. So good to hear all of you and to be here.
Thank you, Alice. It's so good to hear your voice, and I'm really, really glad that you came up and shared. I've known you almost the entire time that you've become sober, and to see the gifts happen in people's lives. I mean, that's the reason we show up, so that we can see, wow, this person made one decision and her entire life is different 3 years later. Like, everything is different. And it's because you do show up for other people and you do practice what you preach. And I love the self-care bit. It took me several years into my recovery to recognize that I had to take those breaks when they showed up, but I am never surprised when I hear about the gifts that happen, the turnaround in people's lives, and these doors that open up when we take our sobriety seriously and begin to work on those things. So congratulations, and I'll be around celebrating your 3 years with you.
Congratulations, Alice. That is an amazing accomplishment, and good luck on your move. Christina, you said something that was interesting. Like, I think a lot of people decide that they're going to try sobriety because they feel backed into a corner, that nothing's changed. It's the same. So, one of the things that I know for sure is that if you want your life to change, get sober. Wouldn't you say that? Like, there's going to be some changes. And so much I hear about, I know for me, experiencing change is that I don't want, I love change and I hate change all at the same time. I want to have a system that works forever. But then once I have a system that I feel works forever, I get bored with it, right? So this is the thing about alcoholism that's so crazy. And I'm not the only one that feels this way. Like I
Nope.
know I'm not the only one, right? So it's interesting, like the amount of rapid change we have. I think people that are in recovery have changed much quicker than people that don't, because I think that we also realize that after a couple weeks of getting sober is that we have to have radical acceptance of ourselves, and we're going to have to be able to let go because we're not going to be able to do it by ourselves, right?
So
So
true.
this ability to be able to do this is really helpful, is if you want to create massive change. That's why I think there's so many successful people that are in recovery.
So, so true.
So let's go to Kathy. Always good to see you, Kathy. How are you? How is your sober week going so far?
So far, it's going okay, but to get through the rest of the week, I will be, to quote the Beatles, getting by with a little help from my friends. Congratulations to you on your happy anniversary, Damon, and Christina, 25 years. Wow. Um, and yeah, I'm looking at the people around me, the voices I hear when I come onto this app, because my sobriety has been threatened a little lately. So I will be drawing on the inspiration I have from some of the strong people I know on here. This week, my mantra is going to be, when challenges face me, I'm going to think of the super strong people I know. I'm going to be saying, what would Chelsea do? I'm going to be saying, what would Laura do? What would Alice do? What would Christina do? No disrespect to anyone else, but I won't mention everybody. And I'm going to be taking lessons from my friendships, taking lessons learned from the friendships that I've had in here, and some of the inspiring people, because right now I'm the weak link in the chain, and I'm happy to say that that's not a cry for help, that's not a kind of false modesty or anything like that, but right now I'm the weak link, and I need to use my links to pull myself up. So that's what I'll be doing with my sober week. I will be attempting to complete getting my mojo back. I'm part of the way there, but not completely. And prepare myself for a business trip I have coming up next week, which I am excited and nervous about. So yeah, and that's what I'll be doing. So a lot of people in this room are an inspiration to me, and I will be channeling your strength this week. So if anybody feels a bit faint, my apologies. It's the universe. So yeah, that's my sober week. Thank you.
Ooh, I love the idea of a business trip, and I totally agree with you, Kathy. The people that are in this discussion and the people that I've met, I often think, well, what would they do? Many, many times when something shows up that is struggling. And I have to say, both you and Alice have shared about the moments that the drink has called more to you. And I really love that, because it's part of the deal. And it's an exact piece of, I mean, right there is the example of how we grow together and get healthy together and accept ourselves completely. And although I was laughing when Damon was saying he gets bored, I too can be that kind of person. And just having this discussion on a Monday morning helps me get right back to that place where I'm like, oh yeah, I have to take care of me. And it allows me to walk a little taller and feel like I belong. So thank you for coming up and sharing.
Yeah,
Can I?
that
Can
was
I?
so great.
Sorry, David. Can
Go
I
ahead,
just add,
Kathy.
just when Christina was speaking, then I've had 4 private messages from people saying, "I've got your back." Isn't that a lovely community to be part of? How lucky am I?
Absolutely, Kathy. I mean, I think what you're sharing is what everybody feels at one point or another. I know I felt it. And, Christina, I wanted to mention something that you spoke about and this whole idea of cravings, right? Um, there's, I think, a big misinterpretation in the recovery world, in my opinion. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about this, about cravings. That somehow, if you have a craving, or if you think about drinking, or if you think about acting out for codependency, right, which we talked about on the Recovered Life show last week, that somehow you're not doing it right, that somehow something's wrong, that that's a sign that you're not doing it correctly. And I'm going to tell you, I think that although a lot of people agree with that statement, that they feel like, hey, that's you're not, something's not right. I find that not to be the case. Sometimes it can be an indicator that actions that you're doing aren't right. Like I've had that where I've maybe put myself around people or situations that weren't right to me that kind of challenged my drinking, which would bring up a craving. But many times, and I want to tell you this, Kathy, because with somebody who's got almost 3 decades of recovery, I'm going to tell you that I have had cravings that have come out of nowhere when I have been working a program and a recovery plan really hardcore. And I would then beat myself up to say, why am I having these thoughts? Why am I having these cravings? And I'm gonna tell you that somebody said something to me that made so much sense. And it was so simple. Like most things in recovery that I really get are very simple, right? And they said to me, they go, of course, you're an alcoholic. That's what alcoholics do. It's not something you could be finished and be done with. That's what alcoholics have, alcoholic cravings. That's what makes them an alcoholic. And I was like, oh my God, it was so simple. And what it allowed me to do was to kind of lay off myself, to take the club and the gun and the bat and not beat myself up so much, is to understand, oh, I'm having these feelings. It could be biological, it could be the sugar intake that I've got, it could be that I'm not doing enough self care, or it could just be that it's happening. And what does it mean? Sometimes it means absolutely nothing. What's the most important part? That I'm aware of it. That's it. There's just no more complexity to that, right? And that that allowed me to cut myself a friggin' break. I mean, Christina, you know what I'm saying? It
Yes.
allowed me to cut myself a break because I remember like 20 something years of recovery. I was about 18 years in. All of a sudden, I had these massive, right? Now, was it a sign of something? It was. I needed to do certain things in my life. But then afterward, I did those things. It came back a little bit. Then it went away for 5 or 6 years, right? And I needed to cut myself a break. Stop being so hard on myself. Look, I saw where the danger signs were. It registered. I reached out to somebody and I talked about it. I don't need to beat myself up for it. What was wrong? Maybe nothing. I'm just an alcoholic. That's what happens to alcoholics.
I agree 100%. It's sometimes it means that we need to double down on our program and do something, and other times it means that we need to be aware that the danger is still out there. And I've not only had drunk dreams, I've worked with people who've had them, and stating it and taking it a little further and beating ourselves up about it, I don't believe helps. I believe that what I saw today and what I've seen today is talking about it and letting people know where we are. That's the right way to handle it and move forward. And
Absolutely.
I'll say this: I've had years where there wasn't a craving to be found, and then I've had moments where it was easy to think about it. At a comedy club about a month ago, somebody was drinking a beer right next to me, and I thought about it for a few seconds and entertained it. But I was with somebody who's also sober, and it went away, and I was able to be like, oh yeah, of course you think that way. Of course. For a long time it worked until it didn't work.
Well,
And
look,
so being able to play the video all the way through and remember helps.
we have an unnatural relationship with alcohol. It's a warped relationship with alcohol. Getting sober does not change that relationship with alcohol. This is the thing that I think that's a big misunderstanding with alcoholism and recovery. They think that, okay, well, I'm going to recover, I'm going to get a couple of years, I'm going to change my life, and my relationship with alcohol is going to be different. I will just tell you, as somebody who's been sober a long time, my relationship with alcohol has not changed. When I think about alcohol and drinking, I think about abusing alcohol. I don't think about having a glass of Chardonnay and watching the sunset. I think about locking myself in with a case of Jim Beam. This will never change. Now, I understand that when I look at that, that's not a normal relationship with alcohol, and I don't want to do that. And I've made different choices, and I understand that's a warped view. But that warped view, at its core, has never really changed. My perception about the warped view and what that means and the choices I have taken have changed. But I'm always going to have an un an unhealthy relationship with alcohol, whether I'm drinking or not. Does that make sense, Christina? Like, and I think that people think that all of a sudden they're going to be that they're going to get sober, and that wow, that's going to go away. In my case, I don't believe it ever has, and a lot of people, that almost everybody that I've met that's an alcoholic, it hasn't. They might fool themselves that it has, and that's when they end up drinking. Is when they said it's all changed. It was a fad. It was just a time in my life where I drank too much. It'll be different now.
Wow. Chelsea, good morning. I guess it's good afternoon where you are, right?
Oh yeah, it's almost
Yay.
lunchtime. Oh, so this week in recovery, well, you know what's really weird is that I just had a drinking dream, but I mean, I just kind of laughed it off because it was like I was drinking with the Jersey Shore people for some reason. I was like on the Jersey Shore and I was drinking with them in like Las Vegas, so I kind of just laughed it off. Um, but that's funny. Like it's that you just talked about it because I just had one of those dreams and it's been a really long time. But yeah, I just figured that's gonna happen. Um, and I've been kind of in a funk, kind of depressed, and I've kind of just chalked it up to my bipolar. I haven't really I wasn't digging into it too much because I know it's gonna pass. Um, and I kind of dug more um I still have my service commitments. I opened the doors for a meeting on Tuesday nights and Thursday nights, and I still have my biweekly phone call with my sponsor, and there's just like certain things that I make sure that I do. I didn't skip my women's book study last night, no matter how much I wanted to, because I was sleeping all day. But I got out of bed, I showered, and I went. It's an Emmett Fox book study on the Golden Key, and his essays and stuff. And um, I don't know, it was really important to me to make my commitments, no matter how bad I was feeling, just because I know I'd probably feel worse. It would make me feel worse if I missed my commitments. And then I got asked to speak at my home group this month. Like I got asked to speak yesterday and I wanted to say no so badly, but like I was trained to not say no, because I work the 12 steps of AA, and like one of the things is like when the hand of AA reaches out, like you don't you don't say no. So I said yes to it. And I feel a little bit better today. Like I feel like each day I'm getting I feel a little better. Like as Kathy says, like I get my mojo back. And yeah, I don't know. Like I definitely didn't dig. I think what helped this go around with this little bout of depression is I didn't dig too deeply into it as far as like why I was feeling depressed, because I literally just chalked it up to my bipolar. I was like, this is probably just a wave. I'm probably going to get past it because I've gotten past, my depression waves before. And I just kept chucking ahead, and doing all my meetings, including my clubhouse meetings. And yeah, Sunday morning I do I do a room in the co-occurring disorder clubhouse, and I woke up and I did not want to do it, but like I still did it, and I felt so much better afterwards. With hearing from my people, and we set intentions, and like I just felt a lot better. So I feel like I just kind of, it's like I have to force myself to get my feet moving sometimes, and it's getting me through my depression. I feel a little better each day, and yeah, I'm glad to be here and to rehear that those drinking dreams are normal, because like I just had one, and like I wasn't, I think because of like the situation, because it was like Jersey Shore people, like Mike the situation, and like Ronnie and all those people from the Jersey Shore, like I kind of just laughed about it. But normally I think I would have dug really far into it, because normally like in those drinking dreams it's after the fact. Like I know that I've drank, but I don't usually see myself drink. So it was a lot different in this dream. But yeah. I think I'm getting better. So that's my
Yeah.
share.
Thank you, Chelsea. Thanks for sharing so openly and honestly. It's, yeah, we have those moments. And I love that you said about doing it anyway, taking care of yourself, sharing, understanding, that there are depressive moments and not having to dig deep in there. That was a really great share. Thanks. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and transition to Kat. Hi.
Hi, morning everyone. Thank you,
Welcome.
Jamin. Thank you, Christina. Hi, so good to be here. And yeah, the consistency and holding down the fort, like so awesome. I need to be here. I have not participated too much in my recovery lately. And this is such like a good time to kind of reflect and be like, where am I at? So thank you. So important. The last few months, I just like, I've gotten to a point where I just have to laugh, that saying, when it rains, it pours. Like, that's totally been where, like, my puppy got sick a couple months ago and almost died. And then I was going through some relationship stuff. And then I was like, you know what, I'm going to get back into the world and go to my in-person meetings. And then I caught COVID. So, if God or my higher power isn't trying to show me something, I think I've really needed to just slow down and reassess. And I have 4.5 years of recovery, and I was thinking something I haven't done is pause and reflect. What do I need in this moment with where I'm at? I constantly was holding myself to, the first year of recovery is so important. You try to get through all 12 steps. You need to call your sponsor. There's things that are kind of like, you need to do this in order to save your life. At least that was how it was for me. I was at the point where I was going to die if I did not get sober. But with where I'm at now, it's not like I'm going to die. I'm not struggling with the obsession on the day to day. I still think about it, but I can kind of play the tape through and be like, okay. But I was going to the same meetings as I first was when I first got sober. My needs have changed, and it's been difficult to like just slow down and ask myself, what do I need? With the support of, talking to other women and my sponsor who know me well enough to kind of, pass those ideas by. But yeah, I just, comfortability, right? And if you stay in one place long enough, I think the universe just kind of has this way of showing you like this isn't working anymore and you need to make some adjustments. And I've had a really hard time with that. At one point I was kind of floating through all these different programs, and it was difficult. Like I was self-diagnosing with I need to go to Depressed Anonymous, and then I was going to CODA, and then and then I was working ACOA, and I had to put that on pause because it was just too much. I was overloading myself, and um, this week I want to go to 2 meetings, 2 meetings, 2 new meetings, not the same meetings. And I have a couple in mind. I want to go to a book study, which it's pretty close to my place, but they study the book pretty thoroughly. And I just need a new experience with the basics. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is a really cool opportunity to have that first. I'm sure, Damon, Christina, you've experienced that where you just need to adjust and reassess and see where you're at now. And it's not going to stay the same. Nothing stays the same. So I don't know if any of that made sense, but that's kind of where I'm at. And thanks for letting me share.
Kat, that was so beautiful. Thank you. Yes, I will say that I have been at that place several times. And, what you described is this transition from your early recovery program to another type of program that you're doing, right? Like, so you're just moving, you get to a place where you feel that you need to kind of mix it up a little bit. I think that that's great. And in my opinion, super healthy. And I think, it really, the awareness of that shows a lot of maturity and a lot of recovery. It's like, hey, you know what? And I've been there too. Like, I remember like the solution was not going to a lot of meetings. If I was going to like 2 to 3 meetings a day, like this at some point it was like, you know what, that's not sustainable. I don't need that now. What I need to do is go out and get a job, or I need to work on my relationships, or I need to do something else, right? Like, so I think it's an unfolding, and I think what you're describing is really beautiful, and I think super healthy. So thank you so much, Kat. Londa, how are you? Welcome. Welcome to the Recovered Life discussion. How are you doing?
I am doing fine, thank you, Damon, and thank you everyone for your transparency because it's really helping me through my process. So I'm a baby in regards to all you guys, but I salute all of you. Um, so my week is going okay so far. It's only been a week since I've been sober, but I've been off and on. The longest I've been sober, I believe, was 6 months, and kind of not even kind of. I did. I went back and I had something to drink. This week it's been eye opening. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. Uh, my husband does not indulge at all. He's very he's on a straight train. He doesn't drink any alcohol. He doesn't smoke any cigarettes. He doesn't do anything. But me, on the other hand, I'm I guess AKA wild parent, if you will. But yeah, so it's been very eye opening because I had a setback last week and it was huge. Felt a little guilty about it, not even a little, a whole, just guilt all over. Um, but I'm trying to push forward. I've been reaching out to these groups, trying to hear other people out, figure out where I'm in the midst of that, and I found that I'm in the midst of all these conversations. I mean, everything that everyone has, any topic that you guys have brought up, I can relate. Um, this week, I'm searching for, I guess, any sober tribe. I'm looking for people I can relate to. I've been working at home since the pandemic began, and it's very isolating, very, very isolating. And I believe, Mr. Damon, you mentioned something. I would grab a bottle and go in my room and chuck it with the door closed. Like, I was a closet binge drinker. And I don't even have to drink every day, but it's like when I did, it was over the top. And I come from a family of drinkers, um, in a point of my life right now where I'm looking to do better, and then my siblings are still in that environment. Um, I don't eat. It's hard sometimes because they might think that you're being better than them, but I'm honestly just trying to save my life and just trying to just be here because my kids need a mom. I can't just be out here and just drinking my life away. And I would hate to see my kids pick up some of the habits that I have, which would be hard. Also, I'm in the military also, so we know that culture of drinking also is huge. Um, Kat, you mentioned something about needs having to be changed, and that's so true. Because and Damon, you mentioned something about unfolding and all in that same room. I feel that so much because as I go through these sober things, I'm realizing that okay, I'm lifting this up, but it's not just about drinking. I went through this. I I'm drinking because maybe this uh, triggered something or that triggered something, and then you figure out, oh well, maybe I need to deal with that. Because it does trigger me to do other things, but I really need to hit that on. Um, Damon, you also mentioned something about alcohol, the cravings. That it's so true, and thank you for saying that because it does help to take the pressure off when you know, okay, well this is a normal thing to happen when you are an alcoholic, to have those cravings. And even if you're at 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, however years, that those cravings can still come. It's I'm just really it sorry, it's nice to hear this and just the full transparency of everyone and just the tribe of the sober, the communities that's
Yeah.
coming out. It's appreciative because you feel like you're all alone in this, but there's so many people who have went through it. And like you guys who've 25, 30 years, like you guys are making you have a template somewhat for us to follow. It's not going to be exact, of course, but it's nice to hear, okay, well this is possibly going to be expected when you go on this road. And don't beat yourself up. It's okay. Because we already beat ourselves up because we're already overindulging anyway. So we're beating ourselves up about something. So it's just nice to hear all of you. I hope all is well. I'll continue to be on these platforms because little do you guys know it's feeding me. So I appreciate that.
Oh,
Thanks for your time.
thank you, Londa. So happy that you showed up in this room, and we are here at the same time through Thursday. So I do encourage you to keep coming. Start following people, everybody who shared on the platform. They're very active in this community, and 7 days is amazing. I will say this: I'm a mom. And that first week, I couldn't imagine what life would be like once I made the decision to give up drinking, but it has given me everything. You are so welcome here. And I will definitely follow you so that I can ping you into rooms. It's a pleasure to meet you. April.
Hey guys, I'll keep it quick because I know we're running out. Good to see everybody. It's been a while. I know
Yay.
I've been working during this time, so I thought I have free moment. Might as well pop in. My life is good. Uh, I did have a drinking dream the other night. It was kind of crazy, and I have had them. And I woke up and I actually realized, like, well, I didn't drink. It's okay. So that was progress, but it's still really hard. Um, my life is going well. I'm an hour outside of Chicago. I have a new job. I'm traveling. And it sounds like they want to set me up for success and not failure, and that's pretty dope. Um, oh man, like I know there's shitty stuff too. I had a really bad conversation with a few people yesterday. I just wanted to destroy things. I didn't want to drink, but I wanted to go to something that made me feel comfortable, and that whether that be like yelling at somebody else or hitting something, like that's what I wanted to do because I guess that's my form of self harm or whatever. But I didn't. I called someone and I worked it out. I'm okay. and this is my life, and that's okay. And I don't have to apologize. I don't have to apologize for what I'm doing, I guess. I'm realizing I don't have to apologize for travel. I don't have to apologize for finding a new job. I know I go through a lot of them, but that's my business. It is what it is. So, yeah, there's still a lot to do. There's still a lot to learn, obviously, since I'm at a year, but it's good. It's good. So, with that, I'll be done speaking.
Thank you so much, April. It's really good to connect with you again here. Good to hear what's going on with you. Wow, this has been an amazing hour together, guys. I've learned so much about this. The interaction and the community of this is very, very powerful. Christina, thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome.
I did want to mention a couple of things. We do, guys, if you are not listening to the Recovered Life show and as part of the Recovered Life community, please take advantage of that. You can just click the link above and you can join for free. It takes less than a minute, and you're going to get access to a lot of great stuff. And that's the Recovered Life show, which we go live 3 times a week. And then we also have these Recovered Life discussions that happen Monday through Thursday at 9 a.m. And I'm pleased to announce that we might have even a couple more pieces of content coming out during the week. So I'm very, very excited about that. Also, I did want to mention here that I talked with Christina, and she gave me two free calls that I could give away to the Recovered Life community this week. Christina, do you want to talk about these calls and kind of what the focus is on these and what you do during this 1 hour call?
Sure. In recovery, I am a recovery coach, but we will sit down and talk about, anything that's happening in your life, things that you need to strategize about, or if you need to share. My specialty is codependency recovery, and so I deal with relationships and adult children of alcoholic situations, people who need to take their recovery to the next step, and they need to move forward, figuring out why they think the way they do and releasing old belief systems that don't work for them. I'm also an interventionist, so if you have a loved one who needs to get what we have here, please feel free to reach out and take one of those calls to discuss that as well. But usually they last about an hour, and it's just my way of being of service. So I highly encourage people to reach out and take advantage of that.
Guys, take advantage of that. Definitely. It's huge. And I know so many people who have done that. And it's really been great to be able to set up a plan, kind of a game plan, Christina, of where you want to go. So you can access that by clicking the link above or going to info.recoveredlife.us. That's info.recoveredlife.us. Just click on Christina Dennis's picture there, and it will give you access to her calendar. Also, guys, we've got a room coming up Thursday called Unstuck, and I've been doing some Unstuck sessions too as well. So if you want to connect with me, if you feel stuck in an area of your recovery, we'd love to do an episode around this, a Recovered Life discussion around it. You could book a free call with me just by clicking the link above, info.recoveredlife.us. Click on that, and then let's talk about how you're stuck. So, Christina, any final thoughts about this discussion, about your week ahead, about what's going on?
This is a beautiful room. Thank you to everyone who came and shared. As Londa so beautifully put, you help. You've helped me, and we help others when we show up and share our story. And I will be back again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, discussing how to rewire your brain for your sobriety.
And I cannot wait. We're going to have a live show around 3:15 today. So we've got some really great topics, and some of the stuff that we discussed here, actually, Christina and I are going to go in depth. So you can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You can see it live there, or just go ahead and click the link above, and we always put the replay of the live show in the community. Guys, we hope everybody has a blessed week. Looking to connect with everybody on Recovered Life, and have a great one. Talk to you soon.
Keep the conversation going. Join Recovered Life, a community of like-minded people who are looking to live their best recovered lives. Membership is free, and you can apply at recoveredlife.us.